The world is shifting beneath our feet, and by 2025, the changes will be so profound that many will find themselves standing at a crossroads, unsure of how they even got there. You might wake up one morning and realize that the rules you once lived by no longer apply. The crescent moon, a symbol of subtlety and hidden influence, will feel as though it rests in the palm of your hand. Not because you possess it, but because you'll finally understand how deeply its cycles affect you. The first thing you'll notice is the crumbling of the illusion that you are ever fully in control. We like to believe that with enough planning, enough discipline, enough effort, we can steer our lives exactly where we want them to go. But 2025 will strip away that fantasy. The systems around us, technology, economies, even the natural world, will move in ways that defy prediction. Some will panic, clinging desperately to old ways of thinking. Others will learn to adapt, to move with the currents rather than against them. The question is, which will you be? As this realization settles in, your mind will become the most critical battleground you've ever known. The speed of information will be overwhelming, a relentless tide of noise demanding your attention. Focus will become a rare commodity, something to be guarded fiercely. Those who can still their thoughts, who can discern signal from chaos, will find themselves ahead. The rest will be swept away, lost in a storm of distractions, unable to think deeply or act with clarity. This is where the real separation begins, not in wealth or status, but in the ability to master one's own mind. And it won't be easy. Every notification, every headline, every algorithm will be designed to pull you away from stillness. But those who resist, who cultivate discipline, will unlock a power most have forgotten they possessed. Then comes the great awakening to energy, not in some abstract sense, but as a tangible force shaping your daily life. You'll start to notice how certain people, places, and even technologies drain you, while others replenish you. The old way of pushing through exhaustion, of ignoring these subtle cues, will no longer work. Your body and intuition will demand that you listen. Some will dismiss this as mere fatigue, but others will recognize it for what it is, a fundamental shift in how we interact with the world. The choices will become clear: protect your energy or watch it bleed away, leaving you hollow and ineffective. This awareness will extend beyond the self too. You'll begin to see how collective energy moves, how groups of people can amplify or diminish each other. And in that seeing, you'll find new ways to navigate the world, aligning yourself with what sustains rather than what depletes. Relationships, too, will undergo a transformation unlike anything we've seen before. The connections that once felt stable will be tested, some breaking under pressures both seen and unseen. You'll realize that many of the people in your life were there out of convenience, habit, or circumstance, not because of any deeper alignment. And as these bonds dissolve, space will open for something new. The ones who remain, the ones who grow alongside you, will be those bound by something far stronger than proximity or shared history. These will be relationships of resonance, where silence feels as meaningful as conversation, where growth is mutual rather than forced. But getting there will require letting go, and that will be the hardest part. We cling to what's familiar, even when it no longer serves us. Yet 2025 will demand that release, offering in return connections that are far more authentic, far more alive. Money, or rather our understanding of it, will shift in ways that unsettle many. The old models of security, steady jobs, predictable markets, traditional investments, will no longer feel reliable. Some will double down, trying to force the old systems to work. Others will see the cracks and adapt, finding value in unexpected places. The most important realization will be this: true wealth isn't in accumulation, but in flow. Hoarding resources will lead to stagnation, while those who learn to circulate, to exchange, to create value beyond mere currency, will thrive. This isn't about altruism, it's about survival. The systems that reward greed above all else are beginning to falter, and in their place, something new is emerging. Whether that something is better or worse depends entirely on how we choose to engage with it. Time itself will feel different. The linear march of hours and days will start to seem like an illusion, a construct that no longer serves us. You'll have moments where the past, present, and future feel intertwined, where déjà vu becomes more than just a fleeting sensation. Some will dismiss this as imagination, but others will recognize it as a deeper truth, that time is not a straight line, but a spiral, and we are moving through it in ways we don't yet fully understand. This realization will bring both freedom and responsibility. If the future is not fixed, then every choice matters more than we ever knew. Procrastination will feel like a kind of self-betrayal, while decisive action will carry a new weight. The question won't be, do I have time? But what kind of time am I creating? But fear will rise, but so will the tools to dissolve it. The uncertainties of 2025 will trigger primal anxieties in many: fear of lack, fear of loss, fear of the unknown. But alongside this fear will come an unprecedented access to wisdom, to practices and perspectives that can transmute it. Meditation, breathwork, even certain technologies will offer pathways out of paralysis. The ones who thrive won't be those without fear, but those who learn to move through it. This will be a year of deep inner work, where the battles fought in the mind and heart determine the quality of life far more than external circumstances. The tools are there, but they require something of us: the willingness to look inward, to confront what we find, and to change. Finally, there will be a quiet but undeniable call to purpose. Not the kind of purpose sold in motivational speeches, but something deeper, something that tugs at you in moments of silence. It might not look like anything grand, no stages, no spotlights, but it will feel essential, as though your very existence depends on answering it. Many will ignore it, drowning it out with business or distraction. But those who listen, who follow that thread no matter how faint, will find themselves on a path that feels strangely right, as though they've been preparing for it all along. This won't be about changing the world in some dramatic way, but about aligning with the role only you can play. And in that alignment, you'll find a kind of peace that no external success could ever replicate. So as the crescent moon of 2025 rises, ask yourself, is it in the palm of your hand, or are you merely reaching for it? The difference between the two will define everything. The year will bring challenges, yes, but also opportunities unlike any we've seen. The question is not what will happen to you, but what you will do with what happens. The power was never in the prediction, it was always in the response. The illusions of security and identity that many cling to will begin to dissolve as the structures once thought unshakable reveal their inherent fragility. The jobs that promised stability, the systems that appeared infallible, the relationships that seemed eternal, all will undergo a profound test. This is not a random occurrence, but a necessary unraveling, a stripping away of false dependencies so that something more authentic can emerge. When these external supports start to crumble, the immediate reaction may be fear, confusion, or even despair. Yet beneath that initial turmoil lies an extraordinary opportunity, the chance to discover a strength that was always there but remained unrecognized. The mind conditioned by society will resist this shift, for it has been taught to seek safety in the visible, the measurable, the approved. But true security was never in those things. It exists in the quiet certainty of one's own presence, in the unshakable awareness that persists even when everything else falls apart. Those who navigate this transition with awareness will find themselves standing on firmer ground than they ever imagined possible. The collapse of old paradigms is not the end, but a rebirth, an invitation to build a life aligned with deeper truths rather than inherited illusions. The mind will become either a prison or a sanctuary depending on how it is wielded. In a world of escalating noise, where distractions multiply and demands pull attention in endless directions, the ability to focus will be nothing short of revolutionary. Most people live as slaves to their thoughts, tossed about by every passing worry, desire, or external stimulation. But the coming shifts will reward those who have learned to direct their mental energy with precision. This is not about suppressing thoughts or forcing artificial calm. It is about recognizing that the mind, like a wild horse, can be trained, not through domination, but through patient, consistent mastery. The practice of observing thoughts without attachment, of returning again and again to the present moment, will separate those who thrive from those who merely survive. The battlefield is internal, and the stakes are clarity, creativity, and the power to choose one's response rather than react impulsively. The world will continue to accelerate, but those who have cultivated mental discipline will move through it with a stillness at their core, untouched by the chaos around them. The body will no longer tolerate neglect. Years of poor habits, accumulated stress, and unconscious living will manifest in ways that can no longer be ignored. Pain, fatigue, illness, these are not punishments but signals, urgent messages from the physical form demanding attention. The body is not a machine to be used until it breaks, but a living, intelligent system that thrives on respect and care. Movement is not optional, it is the language through which vitality expresses itself. Breath is not automatic, it is the bridge between the conscious and unconscious, the tool through which energy can be regulated and restored. Nourishment is not just about filling the stomach, but about honoring the temple that carries the soul through this existence. Those who treat their bodies with reverence will find themselves endowed with energy, resilience, and a heightened capacity to meet life's challenges. Those who continue to disregard these needs will face escalating consequences, for the body speaks in a language that eventually becomes impossible to ignore. Relationships will act as mirrors, reflecting back the parts of the self that have been denied or ignored. Some connections will fracture under the pressure of dishonesty, while others will deepen in ways previously unimaginable. Conflict within relationships is often a doorway to self-discovery, revealing hidden fears, unmet needs, or unhealed wounds. The people who trigger the strongest reactions are frequently the ones holding up the clearest mirrors. Walking away from difficult relationships may sometimes be necessary, but doing so without extracting the lesson is a missed opportunity. Every interaction carries information about the self, and those willing to look deeply will uncover patterns that have shaped their lives in unseen ways. Love is not always gentle. Sometimes it is the friction that polishes the soul. Trust is not always safe. Sometimes it is the risk that teaches the heart its true capacity. The relationships that endure will be those built on mutual growth, where both individuals are committed to expansion rather than comfort. The veil between the seen and unseen worlds will grow thinner, making intuition, synchronicities, and inexplicable knowings more frequent and undeniable. The rational mind, trained to dismiss what it cannot explain, will struggle against these experiences, but the heart will recognize them as part of a larger, intelligent design. The universe communicates in whispers, through dreams, through chance encounters, through sudden insights that arrive with perfect timing. Learning to trust these subtle cues is like acquiring a new sense, one that operates beyond the limits of logic. The more this inner guidance is honored, the stronger it becomes, weaving a thread of meaning through what might otherwise seem like random events. This is not about abandoning reason, but about expanding perception to include dimensions that reason alone cannot grasp. The world is far more mysterious than most dare to believe, and those who open themselves to its hidden currents will find themselves guided in ways that defy conventional understanding. A quiet but persistent voice will grow louder, refusing to be ignored any longer. This is the call of purpose, the inner knowing of the work one is meant to do in this lifetime. Distractions, excuses, and fears may have muffled it in the past, but its volume will increase until it can no longer be silenced. Ignoring it leads to a growing sense of unease, a feeling of being off track, as if life is passing by without real meaning. Purpose is not always grand or dramatic, sometimes it is simple, quiet, and deeply personal. But recognizing and pursuing it is non-negotiable for those seeking fulfillment. The first step is often the hardest, as it requires facing the unknown and relinquishing the illusion of security. Yet with each step forward, the path reveals itself, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. The weight of unlived potential is far heavier than the fear of failure, and those who answer the call will find a vitality that makes all previous struggles worthwhile. The illusion of scarcity will dissolve for those who shift their perception from lack to abundance. The world thrives on narratives of not enough time, not enough money, not enough love. But abundance is not a condition of external circumstances, it is a state of mind. Gratitude is the antidote to scarcity, the practice that rewires the brain to recognize the plenty that already exists. Fear contracts while trust expands. Those who operate from a mindset of sufficiency will find resources flowing to them in unexpected ways, not because the world has changed, but because their focus has. Money, opportunities, and connections are forms of energy, and like all energy, they respond to the frequency they encounter. Worry attracts more to worry about, while appreciation attracts more to appreciate. This is not magical thinking, but an understanding of how attention shapes reality. The shift from scarcity to abundance begins within, and its effects ripple outward, altering the very fabric of lived experience. The past will resurface not as a punishment, but as an invitation to heal what was left unfinished. Old wounds, regrets, and unresolved emotions will rise to the surface, demanding acknowledgement. This can feel like being pulled backward, but it is actually a vital part of moving forward. The past only holds power over the present when it remains unexamined. Facing it with honesty and compassion drains it of its charge, transforming pain into wisdom. Forgiveness of oneself and others is often the key to this transformation. It does not mean condoning what happened but releasing the hold it has on the present. Every experience, no matter how difficult, carries a lesson, and extracting that lesson is what turns baggage into insight. The process is not always comfortable, but it is necessary for those who wish to step into their full potential unburdened by the ghosts of yesterday. A collective awakening is underway, a rising wave of consciousness that will be felt in ways both subtle and profound. People across the planet are beginning to question the narratives they've been fed, seeking deeper meaning and more authentic ways of living. This shift is not uniform. It happens in fits and starts, with periods of progress and resistance, but its momentum is undeniable. Those attuned to this energy will sense it as a palpable force, a current pulling toward greater awareness and connection. The old paradigms of separation and competition are giving way to new understandings of interdependence and unity. This does not mean the disappearance of challenges or conflicts, but a change in how they are navigated. The choice is whether to resist this current or to align with it, recognizing that individual transformation and collective evolution are inseparable. The wave is rising, and those who ride it will find themselves part of something far larger than themselves. The crescent moon in the palm of the hand is a symbol of potential, of the cyclical nature of existence, and of the subtle forces that shape reality. It has always been there, though often overlooked in the rush of daily life. But in the coming shifts, its presence will become undeniable. The moon does not control the tides. It simply reflects the relationship between the earth and the sea. In the same way, individuals do not control every external circumstance, but they do shape their experience of those circumstances through awareness, intention, and action. The future is not a fixed destination, but a fluid interplay of choices and energies. Those who recognize their role as co-creators, who understand that their thoughts, beliefs, and actions are part of a larger fabric, will navigate the coming changes with a sense of agency and purpose. The power was always there, waiting to be claimed. The time to claim it is now. The year 2025 will not be about what happens to you. It will be about what happens within you. The external world will shift, sometimes violently, sometimes subtly. But the true transformation will occur in the quiet spaces between your thoughts, in the moments when you choose awareness over reaction, alignment over resistance. The crescent moon has always been a symbol of potential, a sliver of light in the darkness, and by the time this year unfolds, you will come to understand that its glow was never meant to be grasped, only followed. Some will see these changes as chaos, a reason to retreat into fear or nostalgia. But those who recognize the deeper currents at work will find something extraordinary, an invitation to shed what no longer serves, to trust the wisdom of their own energy, and to move through the world with a new kind of clarity. The relationships that dissolve will make room for those that nourish. The illusions that shatter will reveal truths more solid than the false certainties they replaced. And the call to purpose, however softly it whispers, will guide those who are willing to listen. So as the future rushes toward us, remember this: you are not a passive observer of your life. You are a participant, a co-creator, and the choices you make, how you focus your mind, where you direct your energy, what you decide to release or embrace, will shape not just your year, but the person you become in it. The crescent moon may be in your palm, but only because you've learned to hold things lightly, to let the light guide you without needing to possess it. And when the year closes, when you look back at all that shifted and all that remained, the most important question won't be what happened to me. It will be, what did I allow to transform me? The answer will tell you everything.